Hold us, Lord, as the waters play. Fire us, Lord, with the Spirit today. Shape us, Lord, in the likeness of Jesus, your Son, so may His flock may continue what the Great Shepherd has begun. What the Great Shepherd has begun.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Shepherd's Corner. I'm Deacon Derek Walcott, and with me is the Shepherd, Archbishop Charles Jason Gordon. That's the first time I'm calling him Charles Jason Gordon. Good evening,
How are you
Archbishop.
doing, Reverend Deacon Walcott?
Very, very good.
Excellent.
You know, the last time we got together, we were talking about disrespect.
Miss this respect?
Yes, a whole kind of
All kind of respect.
Yes. And, you know, you want to talk today about considering the golden rule. How do we match up the golden rule and disrespect, and how is prayer going to help us?
You know, that's the question many people ask when I call the 40 days of prayer.
But,
But Father, Archbishop J, how prayer go help us? And that's
Yes.
how they say it, you know.
Yeah.
How prayer go help us, not how it going to help us. And the reason why the question emerges is because people are seeing the desperation of our country. But I have asked for everybody in the Catholic world to be praying, to participate in these 40 days of prayer for our nation. Emmanuel Community had called it before the crisis happened. It was just so timely that the time was called for the Sunday, after which we had the whole who were in the society when we had the Las Cuevas affair, the Sea Lots affair, and so many people were killed in that same week.
Yeah.
And the day that the Emmanuel was starting the prayer was the weekend when we had all of this. And I asked everybody, let's join in this prayer. Why? Because we have this fundamental problem of disrespect. We spoke about that. And how do we understand this problem of disrespect? As you know, what I believe is that the fundamental root of the problem in our nation is a spiritual problem. And that is manifested itself in this culture of disrespect. And the reason why I'm naming it as a spiritual problem is because if we had any love for God at all, we couldn't treat our neighbor like the way we've been treating our neighbor. And love of God and love of neighbor have to come together. And if we're talking about us being people of God, then we have to be people of neighbor also.
But you see, the root of the challenge is spiritual.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, we could be talking here as to people who understand that, but they have other people outside here who don't even think spiritual, you know.
You see, the nice thing is that all the major religions,
Yeah.
all, even down to Confucianism and all the major religions, have this thing that they call the golden rule.
Right.
And it's named differently in different religions. But it's the same thing. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Do so and like so. You know that? You know that? You know that?
I know that.
Yeah. Okay. So do so and like so is saying that you're doing to people what you would not like people to do to you. That's our local parlance for the golden rule.
Yeah.
Do so and like so.
Right.
Why? Why would we do something to somebody that we wouldn't like them to do to us? And when you understand that all religions observe the golden rule or have it in their holy book in some form or fashion, and even there's an atheistic form of it. This doesn't need God to start off with. But if we are a people of God, how could we treat people the way we are? And that's the real challenge. When I looked at the culture of disrespect, I asked myself, what is at the root of this? Of course it's pain. Of course it's ancestral pain. Of course it is unredeemed history. Of course it's all of this. But the real root and the reason why the pain continues generation after generation is because we ourselves haven't allowed or found the pathway to redemption through our relationship with Christ Jesus. And therefore, we might be observing our religious traditions by day, but by night, we're observing other traditions, and I have to say, do so like so.
I hear in you, I hear in you. But you know, I want to go back and I want to say, well, okay, of all the faiths that we have in Trinidad and Tobago, of all the faiths, I'm wondering what percentage of those people actually practice their faith so that they understand this rule.
Golden rule.
This golden rule.
So let's start by this. And we'll see it. That there's the Christian form we know.
Right.
Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Right.
There is a Hindu form, there's an Islamic form, and there you have the three major religions in
Trinidad and Tobago.
There's a Jewish form. So if you take spiritual Baptists, they have the Christian form. If you take Orisha, they're African forms of this rule. So no matter which religious tradition we go at, the golden rule spans right through and across all religious traditions. And basically it's saying that my good is dependent upon the good of others.
I like how you put that. My good is dependent upon the good of others. And you continue to say, my growth is dependent upon the growth of others.
My flourishing is dependent upon the flourishing of others. You see, in the Caribbean, we have this crab in the barrel syndrome. Use a man who used to raise crabs.
I raised crabs since I was small.
Use a man who used to raise crabs.
And I
remember Twinkle Toes.
Twinkle Toes.
Oh yes, I used to bet on Twinkle Toes all the time. Now, when you put a pile of crab in a barrel,
yes,
the first thing the crab going to do is try and climb on each other to get out of the barrel.
Correct.
And so much of our Caribbean psyche does that. So if I can't succeed, nobody else must succeed. I pull in everybody else down. And that viciousness with how we relate with each other, it's really a terrible thing. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard people speaking to their children.
Yes, every day. Every day.
And the viciousness, the anger, the derogatory terms in which they're calling and speaking to their children. We have this unconscious thing where we believe that if I really ridicule you badly, I will get you to change your behavior.
Correct.
And we don't understand that level of ridicule, which is traumatizing, actually keeps people in the same behavior. It doesn't help them to change. To change, a person needs to have unconditional love. The opposite. If you want a person to change, they must experience unconditional love.
Yeah, but unconditional love could be buffing you too. I mean, but I tired talk to this child. The child I want to listen to me at all. Well, I must give it, a good tongue lashing. I mean, that has been kind of our culture.
But it's not only the good tongue lashing. When you really reach in Trinidad, if you're a foreigner and you come in, and you're trying to make your way in Trinidad, and you meet with a group of Trinidadians, you know when they like you is when they start to give you peacock. The moment you are accepted as one of us,
you don't get peacock.
No, that's the initiation right to become part of us. So we use a negative humor, negative behavior, negative feedback, negative correction measures, negative and derogatory terms to people, and expect them to flourish by that use. There's something wrong with that.
Yeah, I do.
There's something wrong with it.
Why?
Well, you see, the fundamental spiritual law is the basic foundation of humanity. And without this foundation, we cannot build a sustainable civilization. So we are building a civilization that is based on sand. Because if the foundation of this civilization is a fundamental disrespect for each other.
We back to disrespect.
We back to that. But the opposite of the golden rule is disrespect.
Okay.
Think of it.
No, I'm following you.
Do unto others as you would
like
have them do unto you.
Okay.
What is the opposite of that? Disrespect others.
Do them first before they could do to you.
Yes, do them,
do them first. No, you hear them saying that.
If they jam you,
yeah,
jam them back.
No, jam them first so
Yes,
they don't jam you.
Exactly. So a preemptive strike.
Yes.
Now, if the civilization is based on a false premise, then the whole civilization is going to implode inward. And I am proposing that this is a spiritual problem at heart, because if I believe that God is God, then I have to believe that my neighbor is worthy of all dignity, because God created every human being with dignity. Everyone.
But we become so individualistic. You know, we look out for the eye. You know, and if I can't flourish, nobody else must flourish. I want to go back to what you were saying there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This rugged individualism with its exaggerated push for human freedom, you said, has taken us to the brink of the precipice.
That's right.
You're sure we are the brink?
We standing up right there and we watching over. And you know, and the man behind say, push them. Push them. I don't think we see clearly the civilization that we have created here in Trinidad and Tobago. It is brilliant beyond measure, creative beyond compare. I believe per square foot we have more creativity than most places could ever hope for. And ingenious in ways that are amazing. Amazing. But at the same time, the underbelly of all of this is this fundamental disrespect of a human being that we participate in, and we believe it to be a value system that makes us Trini. And that's a problem.
Now, we have a viewing public there. They're watching on Shepherd's Corner. What type of civilization do we want to build in Trinidad and Tobago? What type of people you think we should become?
A civilization of respect. A civilization where we each love and respect and cherish each other. I want to go back to the former slide, because here's one of the things I said. At this existential edge of human decency, we now have very difficult decisions to make on the kind of civilization we want. Because if we stand up here and we continue doing disrespect, we're going to go over this edge. If we stand up here and we start doing fundamental respect for each other, we come away from the edge. We build a different civilization. One where decency, love, respect for the other, and care and human flourishing become the ecosystem of this civilization.
I take you back. Consider the golden rule. And you're saying that you called us into this 40th day of prayer. And you're seeing this as almost a catalyst to pull us back from the edge.
Yes. Because when you're jumping up, you know, Naipaul had a wonderful quote, you know. Can't remember which book it was. Might have been Gorillas. He said, noise, noise. He said, if it was my way, I would jail them every time they open a boombox. They're jumping up and down at the edge of a precipice, and they don't even sense the danger. It's a morbid Naipaul. But we don't see how the disrespect we give to each other creates the culture of violence that we now have in Trinidad and Tobago.
No,
we're not seeing that.
I like that what you just said there about Naipaul, about the noise, about the boombox.
Yeah.
Because even in that, I mean, you know,
that's disrespect.
That is disrespect.
You open your boombox out on the road in front of my house.
Yeah.
I can't hear to think, but because you have your freedom and you're exercising your freedom, but your responsibility to me is not being observed. Because it is totally disrespectful to me. Now, if I came outside your house when you want to sleep or rest, watch TV or listen to music, and I open up my music in front of your house at that appropriate time, you would tell me, but how I could do that?
But it's my right.
Do unto others as you would
have them do unto you. But hold on a minute. You're trying to say that I have to give up some of my freedom.
I'm not trying to say.
You're telling me.
I'm telling you.
Aha. The man is telling me, Archbishop Jason is telling me on Shepherd's Corner that if we want to flourish, if we want to continue to respect each other and stop the disrespect, we have to give up some of our own freedoms.
We have to, in fact, go to what I'm now calling exaggerated responsibility towards the common good.
Exaggerated responsibility
for the common good. Because we have right now exaggerated freedoms.
Exaggerated freedoms.
That is jumping up and down at the end of a precipice and not recognizing the problem. We have to now counteract that. We have to go to the other side, which is exaggerated responsibility for the common good. And the common good is what serves all of us. Not one or two, what serves all of us. And what serves all of us, my freedom has to be sacrificed for the good of everybody. And this is a lesson that Trinidad has to learn. And if we don't learn this lesson, we will go deeper and deeper into this precipice that we are falling into.
The golden rule as a guide. You said, looking at the golden rule, it seems very simple.
Absolutely.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It may even seem self-interested.
Yeah. If I want to be happy, I will make you happy. If I want to be a person who receives a lot, I'll have to give you a lot. So it starts nearly by saying, wherever you want, you do that for other people. So it sounds self-interest, but it's not. Because what it does is it turns us to be other-centered. So it focuses out to the other. And at its heart and its core, it forces us to move from the I to the you. You know, in one of the houses where I lived in community, at the front door, they had a sign saying, I am third.
I am third.
You got inside the house and you saw another sign saying, you are second. You got deeper into the house, you saw, God is first. But that's how it has to be. That's what the golden rule pushes us to. That I really am third. But we are living in Trinidad and Tobago with the I as in the first place for every individual, which means that if what I want is in conflict what you want, we are now bumping into the same space. And because we're bumping into the same space, now we're going to have a war. Because you're going to disrespect me and I'm going to disrespect you back. Because we both want this glass of water and I have a right to act on me getting the, and you have a right to. And so we're bumping into each other with great disrespect. That's not how you build a civilization. That's not how you build a culture. That's not how you build a nation.
You know, I see this from the top going all the way down to the gangs, going right down to the bottom.
Yeah.
Because they're all basically I first.
Yes. Once the I goes first, we're in trouble.
So I must be third.
I am third.
I am third. I love that.
You are second, and God is first. So we need to ensure others have what you dream for and aspire towards. If you want to have peace, you have to make sure you're giving peace to other people. If you want the world to be a sharing place, you have to become the dream that you want to see happen. Whatever it is you want, you have to become that and bring that into being in our nation.
You need to ensure others have what you dream for and aspire towards. That's a toughie, you know.
Here, you know.
Because I'm going back to the man who making the $1 million.
You know, for many years I was in Gonzales.
Yes.
Okay. And the guys used to say, my father, all right, you know. Them gang leader operating their shop downtown. How them different from us? When we go to work there, they pay us what they want and how they feel. you don't get nothing permanent. You're working hard. At the end of the day, what they're giving you to take home is trinkets, and what they're living on is larger than life. Now, there's a whole school of economics that is based on this one theory of the golden rule, you know. And a guy got the Nobel Prize for it. If you remember the movie, A Beautiful Mind, the guy who had schizophrenia, he got the Nobel Prize for this theory, that the good of the individual must never supplant the good of the whole.
Yeah.
And so what you do is you serve the good of the whole above the good of the individual. And he has a whole economic theory broken into formulas that insurance companies are using and all kinds of people are using. But it's all based on the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Let me tell you something. You hear what the Archbishop said? We need more than 40 days of prayer for us to connect that one. Are you serious? We need more than 40 days of drinking for that one. And listen, this is just water.
You need to live exaggerated responsibility for the common good. All of us have been so indoctrinated with exaggerated freedom. I mean, think of any of your children, real young. You tell them you do anything to curtail their freedom. What was the next thing happening?
Rebellion.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you putting it?
So bad.
15.
It's war.
15 and 16.
Yes.
I remember hearing my sister once, and the kids were young, and she said, hold on. Before I even go there, let's remember one thing. I am the wicked witch of the West, and I am terrible, I am mean, I am uncaring, unloving, and unflinching. And now that we got that out of the way, what else you want to say? That's a preemptive strike.
Talk none.
Because what else are you going to say?
Yeah.
Because they wanted something that she was unwilling to give them, they in turn went to the rebellion side.
Yes.
Because we've not taught ourselves, and therefore we cannot teach our children how to live with responsibility. We've not taught ourselves, you know. They are only feeding off of us. The rebellion of the teenagers feeding off the parent. If the parent was docile to God, humble to God, and yielding to God, the child would understand how that works. But when the parent is playing themselves, and then you want to stop the child playing themselves, but why you must stop for? Look at you. That's the problem that we're having in this society.
And
it's a deep spiritual problem.
And therefore, children are mirroring what they see.
Absolutely.
They're mirroring what they see in their parents. And they're mirroring what they see in society also.
Absolutely. And that's the problem that we're facing.
We need to live
exaggerated.
The shepherd said, you need, he said you, I heard that part of the you, you need to live exaggerated responsibility. Now, it is from this understanding, you said, that we begin to understand the root of our interconnectedness.
Absolutely. You know, there are some top scientists who, when they delve down into the elemental of life, what they see is connectivity, not disconnectivity. What they see is the way in which organisms come together and connect. The whole of creation is coming together in connectivity. And the one species that does it different is us. We go for the disconnection. And the reason for that is because we can. Because we are conscious. Because we have free will. Because we can choose.
We're so stupid that we're smart. We're so smart that we're stupid.
Dotish. That's the word.
No, but because
the word of the day is?
Dotish.
What's the word of the day?
Dotish.
All right.
You got it. Everybody dotish.
Because when I do what could never produce happiness, and I keep doing it over and over and over again, what is a good description of that?
Madness.
Because that's what we're doing. So I want to work for $1 million and I want to pay you $100. Is that going to work? Cannot work. You will start stealing from me because you will feel you're entitled to some of that money and some of that lifestyle that I'm living. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If I want you to be fair to me, then I have to be fair to you. If I want you to be an honest worker, then I have to treat you with an honest wage.
I love what you just said because it just recalled something that I just saw on television the other day. I think maybe it was BBC, where this guy in England, right, and he has one of the most successful franchises going on. And what he's done is he said, okay, the profit that I make, I am going to say part of this profit is for our growth, for us to continue to grow.
Right.
Part of this, and he is taking only 10% of the profit.
Right.
And the rest of the profit goes towards the employees.
Right.
And he says what that has done is that has removed all the pilfering and stealing and everything. Because everybody within the company knows
that do unto others as you have them do unto you.
No, that was a magnificent, you just triggered this thing in my mind.
Using the same formula from A Beautiful Mind of make the good of us above my own individual good.
Yeah.
And then we'll all flourish together.
I'm trying to remember what was his company. What was the company that he ran? But it was a fantastic take that BBC ran on this guy and how he ran his business.
Yes.
And he says, while everybody is suffering under the internet and using that kind of formula like Amazon and so on, his business was flourishing. There was no stealing. And because there was that common good for everybody.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Everybody could buy into this.
Everybody bought into it.
Yes.
Right? So I like this thing. It is from this understanding that we begin to understand the root of our interconnectedness. And here in the Catholic tradition, we speak about the common good, the good that we must all seek and work for if we are to flourish. Wow! Blow mine. Tricanal. You know you like to quote. You know like to quote the fellas.
Hello. Good morning, neighbor.
Good.
They say, I have a little remedy, a guaranteed philosophy to make this a better place, healing for the human race. What is the remedy? It's simple, you know. Be neighborly. Say good morning, neighbor. Morning. No, morning, neighbor. Morning. When we treat others right, we make the whole thing right. When we treat others badly, we make the whole thing bad. And so it's a simple song. It might look thick, but what they're saying is, could we give dignity to each person we meet on a day? What does it cost you to say good morning to people when you meet them on the day? What does it cost you? Nothing. You walk in an elevator, good day everyone. You walk in an office, good day everyone. What does it cost you? But what we tend to do is we go inside and we say nothing to nobody. So we don't actually recognize people's existence. What does it feel like when you go into a shop and the person who is being paid to serve you is on their phone talking to somebody and going on and on, and you standing up there and they don't even acknowledge that a human being has walked through that door and they haven't paid you the time of theirs yet? How does that feel?
A culture of disrespect. You feel disrespected. You feel, but wait a minute, you don't want my business or what?
But it's not about business, it's about power. You don't understand? I am powerful. And if you want anything here, you will wait on me. It's about me having power over you. Because we haven't learned how to live the golden rule. And would that person want that if they went into somebody else's shop? They will not want it. So why are you doing it to somebody? Why are you doing it to somebody? And if you make the business bad and people stop coming, who's going to be paying your salary? And if you keep doing it, then you're not going to have a job. But we're so short term because I believe this wound is so deep in our psyche that we can't even see it for ourselves. because it's really, really so deep. When I hear parents really correcting their children with ridicule and negativity and all the rest of that, that really says something to me.
I want to, you look like you explored a number of cultures.
Yes.
You said in South Africa they say Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu. Yeah. Generally, it means
humanity.
Humanity.
I am because you are. I love it, you know. I am because you are. I am not the foundation of my existence. My existence requires you to exist. So I cannot be the center of the universe. I am because you are. And Ubuntu is a philosophy within South Africa that, like Good Morning Neighbor, a guarantee philosophy to make the place better, it says that the good of the individual is always second to the good of the community. The good of the community is always first to the good of the individual. I am because you are. I am not because I think or because I have money. I am because you are. My existence is laying on your existence. So the foundation of a building, of a civilization, the building blocks are not in pitch, oil, concrete, or steel. Is in the quality of the relationship of the citizens and the understanding that the individual is always dependent upon the collectivity. And that's why the common good is important. And that's why we must now have an exaggerated responsibility towards the common good.
You know, that's also a software. The name of a software.
What's that?
Ubuntu.
Okay.
And it's free software. So while Microsoft developed its Windows, there's this free open software
and
that
open
can run.
Source.
Yeah, open, and it allows people now to come and make changes, improve it, because
always.
I use it. It's amazing.
Yes.
Open source.
Yes.
It is the interdependence that we understand in our striving for excellence and growth. My existence and happiness are dependent upon yours. Do you outside listening on, watching on? I know you're watching on many different platforms. His Grace is saying that my existence and happiness, your existence and happiness are dependent upon mine, is dependent upon yours. And this is a different foundation from our current foundation, you say, in Trinidad and Tobago.
Because right now, my existence is dependent upon my existence. And whatever I want to do, if I want to wind down low, mash up the place, get on bad, whatever I want to do, that's my business. And that has nothing to do with you. So don't come and tell me nothing about me. You have your truth, I have my truth. But, you know, your rights end where my face begins, you know.
But we talk about that with disrespect.
Your rights end where my face begins. You have a right to stretch out your hand how you want, but not as far as it reaches to my face. And this subtlety is, and I'm going down to what I'm considering the foundations of our culture of disrespect. And it is here that we are not willing to put the other first. We become so eccentric that we are now first. When you think of your grandmother, there are no iron at, you know.
No.
I want to say there are no iron granny.
They have no iron granny.
Because granny always put everybody else first.
Yes.
Whoever came into that house had a meal. Come sit down. Oh, go, you're traveling so long. Come, put up your foot.
My granny lived in Gonzales.
Right.
And I could walk home from Park and Henry Street, from St. Mary's College, and I could bring a friend.
Yeah.
And they always had food for my friend. And, you know, maybe granny didn't eat, but I'll tell you something, my friend ate.
Yes.
That was amazing.
And we had a civilization that was based on the other first. We've turned it around and we now have a civilization based on the self first. And that's at the root of the problem that we're facing. And it has compounded the culture of disrespect that we have had.
We're going to another. You're going to
Yoruba.
Yoruba. We talked South Africa. You see, there is a Yoruba proverb that says, "One who is going to take a pointed stick to pinch a baby bird should try it first on yourself."
Self, yes, and feel how it hurts. Then try it on the baby bird.
That's watching at it from a different angle.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's the same golden rule at,
Yes.
at the very core of it. Placed in the negative, it puts forward the point very well. Your actions to others should be tested on yourself first.
No, I love that.
So there's a flip now.
Yeah.
So in the positive form, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. This next flip now is anything you want to do to somebody else, try it on you first. I love it, you know.
Yeah, I love it. No, I love it.
If you want to try cuffing somebody, cuff you first.
I think that this Yoruba proverb, one who is going to take a pointed stick to pinch a baby bird should first try it on yourself. Try it on yourself. Shoot yourself first. No, I'm only joking, right? We don't want anybody to do that.
No violence.
No violence.
No violence. But the point of the proverb is if you had to try it on yourself first, a lot of violence will just go. Because you know you ain't doing it.
In Hinduism, the text from the Taittiriya Upanishad reads, "Those acts that you consider good when done to you, do those to others, none else." Right? And this comes from the Shikshavali 11th Avuvakada.
You did that so good, man.
Boy, here it is. You know how long I was practicing that?
You did that so good. I'm proud of you. It says, those acts you consider good, when done to you, do it to others. None else. Those acts that you consider bad to you, do not do it to others. This is the same golden rule. Eh? And what I'm trying to demonstrate is for those of African descent who are more conscious of the African continent.
Culture, yeah.
It's the same golden rule.
South Africa, Yoruba, you heard it.
Those of the Indian descent who are more conscious of the Hindu,
Taittiriya,
it's the same
Upanishad.
golden rule.
You hear it.
This is not a Christian rule. This is
It's
an
universal.
African rule. This is an Indian rule. This is a human rule. Because I believe this is part of our DNA. I think this is written into the DNA.
We go after what we can get, or rather, what's in it for me.
You know the new radio station,
No.
WIIFM.
What is in it for me?
What's in it for me? And we all listening to the same station, and on some of us broadcasting on it. What's in it for me? And if I can't find something in it for me, I'm not involved, you know.
No, but that's real, you know.
Hello,
people
this
say,
ain't
if
real.
it is not in it for me, what am I doing it for?
I'm not doing it.
Even though it's for the common good.
I'm still not doing it. Because show me how it's in it for me. And we don't understand that serving the common good is the most basic, fundamental responsibility we have if we want to ensure happiness for ourselves. We don't understand that.
Trinidad and Tobago, we know, is multi-ethnic, multi-religious. It's a community. It's a melting pot.
Multi-everything.
Our largest traditions are Christianity, Hinduism, and Islam. We have many other traditions also that make up this incredible place. We also have humanists and atheists in our land who do not believe in God, but we all share the common humanity.
And I can't see how an atheist, a humanist, a Taoist, a Buddhist, a Jew, a Hindu, a Muslim, Orisha, spiritual, but I don't see how anyone could say, I cannot partake of the golden rule. Because the golden rule is really written into the DNA of the human. Because wherever we go, and whatever culture or religion we throw up this same rule, no matter where. Look how far this is. Christianity, Islam, Hinduism. And I mean, I could have gone on to other examples. I just wanted to make sure I covered the major traditions and cultures from which we have come. But it's everywhere.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago, going metric, 5,131 square kilometers. And we need to understand that my happiness is dependent upon your happiness. You said you want to ask every citizen
to consider this golden rule. You see, how do we counteract the culture of disrespect? We could only do that by putting in place a culture of morality. Now, because of the multi-ethnic, multi-religious dimensions in our nation, we can't pull a morality from Christianity and ask everybody to live it. We can't pull it from Hinduism and ask everybody. But if we pull the golden rule as the foundation of our moral thinking and reasoning, then we can ask everybody to live it. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Or you could say, if you want to go and use a pointy stick at a bird, use it on yourself first. If you want to do something negative to somebody, try it out on you first and see if you like it. If you like it, okay. But if you don't like it, let's not pass that on. Or only do the things that are good and bring happiness to you. Only do those to others. It's all the same thing. And if we have this as the beginning point of a moral discourse, then what we start to have now is a society where we have to start asking ourselves, boy, would I like if they do that to me, boy? Nah, I ain't gonna like it. Well, let me not do it, no? That's what we have to start doing. And then the culture of disrespect will start to recede.
The golden rule then transcends culture,
Everything.
religion, belief.
Everything.
And
Everything.
You mentioned it over and over in your presentation, in the discussion tonight, where you said it is in our DNA. It's the fabric of our DNA.
That's what I believe. How else does this pop up everywhere? In disconnected countries like Africa and India and Europe, and how is it popping up? China, how is it popping up everywhere? There's certain things when anthropologists went to far and remote cultures. There's certain things that all cultures hold. The sanctity of life. You should not take somebody's life. Preservation of possessions. You can't just walk and take somebody's wife, take somebody's car, or whatever the possession might be perceived to be, or husband. You can't take what belongs to another person. You can't do that. Not that a person is a possession. We can't take what is of another person. So these things, but the golden rule is popping up everywhere too. Do unto others as you'd like them to do unto you. And because it's popping up everywhere, like these other things that we see, it is popping up everywhere, not because it has come from outside, from a spaceship in, but because this is written into us. This is the most basic understanding of decency.
Now, you wanted to just put this now in the context of prayer.
Before we do that, I was just thinking, the personification and the extremity of the golden rule is what the saints live.
Yeah.
So the golden rule is the minimum. Do to you.
The golden rule is the minimum.
It's
the minimum standard.
Minimum standard. Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. But take that up a notch. Then you get to Mother Teresa,
Not many of us could be like Mother Teresa.
Do unto others what no one would expect you to do unto them.
That was her rule.
Well, that's what she lived.
Yeah.
The most discarded, the most neglected, people with maggots all coming out all over the body, and she will take them and bathe them and love them. Because that's what her heart would want, for somebody to do for her if she was in that condition. Wow. So the golden rule goes everywhere from the minimal standard right up to the saint. Think about it. Mother Teresa, all she was doing was living the golden rule. When she took dying children off the street and cared and loved for them until they died, that's the epitome of the golden rule. That's the maximization of the golden rule. So the minimal is the transactional, in that Well, I wouldn't want to be walking down the street and somebody just slap me, so I would not do it. But the maximum is, if I was really down and out and hard pressed, I would really want somebody to take me out of the gutter, to take the maggots out of me, and to care for me, and to love me, and to help me to have dignity. So this golden rule spans from the minimal requirements right up to sanctity. Right to sanctity.
And we are all called to be saints.
Absolutely.
We are all called
And so if we live the golden rule, as every time we take the ante up one more, we are moving towards sanctity. Because once I stop doing the negatives that I don't want to be done, I have to start now doing the positives that I would like to see. And that would take me all the way up to sanctity. Then you go back to prayer.
Trinidad and Tobago. And this is why I'm bringing in this aspect that His Grace wrote in his article. Prayer is the only thing that could take us there, because Mother Teresa, all those great saints, were people of prayer. And that is the value of prayer.
John Paul II.
People of prayer.
Yes.
You said by definition, prayer turns us outward after leading us inward, away from ourself towards the other. Mother Teresa.
Correct. But this turn of mind and consciousness, we create a new foundation for the entire being. You see, once we believe that my happiness comes from getting what I want, we're in deep, deep trouble.
Yeah.
Because Jesus says, anyone who is first, make themselves last of all and servant of all. Anybody who wants to be important, make yourself little. So that's another thing on the golden rule. Why you need to make yourself last of all? Because you have to put others first, because that's what you would want them to do for you. You have to do unto others as you would want them to do to you. So this golden rule might seem simplistic, but it really can give us a foundation for civilization. So you meet a person in the street who's living on the street. You have to ask yourself, if I was living on the street,
what would I want for myself? What would I want?
A person come and ask you for food.
What would I want?
And you think they might be a drug addict. But if you were in that predicament, what would you want? You understand how we...
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's how... People outside there, you're listening to us. We are chatting here. We're in a nice, comfortable studio. But this is a real challenge. And, His Grace is asking us to consider...
I am not the foundation of my being. There's a foundation that is beyond me. I did not bring myself into being. I am not the origin, and I will not be the end. There's one who is greater than I am, who brought everything into being. I am surrendering to this one. And this one we know is God. I seek communion with this one. I want to know, love, and serve this one. This one is God. This one is God. And until we understand that we are not the origin of ourselves, we will never understand why I can't get anything I want.
Say that again.
Until we understand that I am not the origin of myself, I will not understand why I can't get anything I want. Because if what I want is this iPad that you have, then why I mustn't take it for? It's there. I could take it. I need it. I want it. I must take it. But this is a problem. We have made the I the foundation. And what I'm proposing is the foundation of the being, of our being, has to be the other. It has to be God. When God becomes the foundation, then I must treat you differently now. Because if God is the foundation, you've been created in God's image and likeness.
Correct.
And that means you have been created with incredible dignity and respect. And that means that you are the presence of being to me. And if I believe in the indwelling of the Holy Trinity, then you are the tabernacle of the Holy Trinity. And therefore I should bow when I come to your presence. And I should recognize in you that which is greater than you.
And then that calls for us, and I want to come back, that calls for us a different level of respect for the other. By turning from self we change the basic proposition of our national consciousness.
That's right.
It is no longer about me, it is about God. This is the first step in our religious conversion. Amazing.
And it's a conversion process because we are also filled with the false rule that the eye is so important.
There are many people who belong to religion and do not make this first conversion. To pray is to open yourself to the divine who is present to us in all things. To pray again is to be open to the otherness and recognize God in the face of the other person, which is what you just kind of shared with
Mother
everybody.
Teresa. That's the Mother Teresa thing. I was hungry, I was naked, I was sick, I was in prison, and you either did or you didn't do it for me, you know. You either did it or you didn't do it for me. Simple, you know.
To pray even more is to recognize God in all creation. Then we cannot treat others and the creation as an extension of myself. They need to be reverenced and recognized for what they are, the presence of God. I like that. And I treat them as I want to be treated. The first value of prayer, you see, is to be immersed into God and the perspective of God. This immersion offers us a new way of seeing and being in this world. This change we call conversion. It is an alignment of our deeper self with the truth written into the DNA in my body. I am part of a big reality, a whole ecosystem that spans space and time. I am because you are. Whoa!
This turn to the other is so vital. And it is a religious conversion. It's really a religious conversion. Because once I understand I am not the foundation of my being, then I turn now and I allow God to be the foundation of my being. Then God is first, and my whole life now is aligned around God being first. And that means I must love God with everything, and I must love my neighbor as myself. That's another expression of the golden rule, huh? Love your neighbor as yourself.
So I come to them, partner. We all come first.
Yeah.
God, you, and then I.
Correct.
The Catechism of the Catholic Church 2559 says, prayer is the raising of one's mind and heart to God, or the requesting of good things from God. But when we pray, do we speak from the height of our pride and will, or out of the depths of a humble and contrite heart?
This is the other thing implied in the golden rule, huh? That when we don't live the golden rule is when we've gone into arrogance. Why would I not treat you as I want to be treated? Because I think I'm better than you.
And that's right.
And I think I deserve better than you. So therefore, I don't have to treat you with nothing special. You have to treat me with something because I am better than you. And that is the foundation of the disrespect.
Homes, businesses. I love what Archbishop Jesus said there. You know, that whole thing of, it comes back to respect.
Yes.
It comes back to respect.
Absolutely.
He who humbles himself will be exalted.
You know, when I was in seminary, one of the seminarians was doing this reading, and he blurted out, and he who humbles himself will be highly exhausted.
He who humbles himself will be highly exalted is reality.
Yeah. Only when we humbly acknowledge that we do not know how to pray as we ought, are we ready to receive freely the gift of prayer. Man is a beggar before God.
A beggar.
It's a beautiful quotation. So let's beg God. Let's beg God then for the humility we need to treat others as we would want them to treat us. You know, I don't know how else I could say it, but the golden rule is the golden rule for a reason. It lays the foundation of the basic framework of a civilization. And it is not religious, it is across religion, it is across cultures, across creed, everything. And if we could start living the golden rule, we would actually start having a different kind of discourse, interaction, life, and an incredible way of being.
What is the key message?
Prayer brings us into alignment with the moral code written into our DNA. It aligns us outside of ourselves. It aligns us to put God first and you second.
Now, we have 3 minutes. You have an action step for all of us.
Well, we have a couple of days left in the
40 days of
40
prayer.
days of prayer. Just a few days, actually, in the 40 days of prayer. But whenever you see this, enter into these 40 days of prayer. Enter into this time of prayer. Even if you see it on the last day, remember the 11th hour
The 11th
workout?
hour. Yeah.
So even if it's on the last day, even if it's on the 7th, whenever it is you see this, you enter into this. Why? Because this prayer, it opens the passage for our conversion. Our conversion opens the way for us to live the golden rule. The golden rule opens the way for us to build a civilization of love, respect, and human flourishing.
Prayer. The raising up of the mind and heart to God. Prayer. And just understanding that if we're with the same mind and heart of God, then we will treat each other differently.
We would treat each other differently. And if I understood that I am because you are, I'd treat you differently. I'd have to.
You born to. Scripture reading.
Matthew 7:12.
Is there anything special that you'd like to kind of say as I know that we're going to close up with a prayer.
I want people to reflect on how you're treating each other. I really want you to look at it. Look at how you treat your family. Look at how you treat your wife, your husband, your neighbor, your colleague at work. Look especially the people who are closest to you and see how we're treating each other. That really will help you to understand what the golden rule is inviting you to. Let it invite you.
Tricanal. Good morning, neighbor.
Father, we thank you for your tremendous love. We ask, oh God, that as we open our heart wide, give us courage to live this golden rule with great courage, that everyone else will flourish around us, Lord, and that we will contribute to their flourishing first, and therefore bring respect back into our land, back into our families, back into our workplace, and our whole country. We make our prayer through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Amen.